Two quick things before we get started. One, been taking my allergy medicine, so I'm a tiny bit less nasally. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Second thing is, this week, one of the people that runs New Rockstars, for those unfamiliar, you should check out New Rockstars. They're your one-stop shop for geek media coverage, analysis, nerdy theories, all the good stuff. If you're enjoying CWPLL here, and you're a Marvel or Star Wars or anything nerdy fan, New Rockstars has got you covered with their brilliant analysis. I was a guest star on one of their shows back in February when WandaVision was out. So you can see my face, talking about WandaVision theories. Anyway, they were saying what franchise or thing should we watch that's not Marvel and Star Wars that you would love to see New Rockstars cover. And I, of course, said Pretty Little Liars. I mean, it'd be great to have Eric Voss and the team come and guest on this and kind of help me as well figure out who A is. So this is my formal pitch to New Rockstars. Listen, this case is overwhelming me. I'm swamped with paperwork. I'd love the help.
Chris watches Pretty Little Liars. Chris watches Pretty Little Liars. Chris watches Pretty Little Liars, so he can help you figure out who's A.
Episode 14. This one is called Careful What You, the letter U, Wish number 4. Not sure if that matters, but we're just noting it. The subtitle for this episode would be New Character Episode. New kid alert, but not everyone's a kid. Yeah, new character episode. The very opening scene here confused me very briefly because we're watching the liars watch the video again, and I realized we're picking up exactly where we left off. I guess they ran outside, could not find our creeper, so they ran back inside and I guess watched the video again because they had different reactions. I was like, oh, okay, they're watching it again. Just to be sure they caught everything. The reactions are different. And I made a note to myself, this video of Allison and Ian in the woods is probably the biggest piece of evidence into her disappearance until we get to the final moment, which we'll get to. But yeah, this video in and of itself is a big piece of evidence. Now, was this video just put on Spencer Preston's laptop or was it emailed to her? I could have sworn it was emailed to her. So we'll get to that technological question later. I guess it was put on her laptop and we'll just kind of let it go. As my listeners have said, I need to let some of these technical questions send into the sky and let it be, which I will do. I just was like, well, why can't she just open her email and get the file back? Anyway, it doesn't matter in the end. So they're watching. Okay, let me set the scene here. On the night that Allison disappears, Ian and Allison sneak off and have a little thing, which I now realize this is in Spencer Preston's backyard? Because I said they were in the barn, which I'm assuming is the barn that gets made over that Melissa and Ian are currently staying in. I think I'm correct. And then Allison leaves at some point and meets up with Ian. We also know that at some point before that, she meets up with Toby. That's how she gets the sweater. So two people show up at this location. Ian is on video. He knows this video was taken. So he knows this video exists, and I'm assuming he thought, I deleted it everywhere, so it's not a big deal. So he walks in. They watched this video 2 or 3 times now. He walks into the kitchen. I wrote in all caps, how does Ian not see his own face? It's a little slapsticky, a little comedic, how almost like he doesn't see it, and he does, and then Spencer Preston makes her way to the laptop, closes it, we're fine. Ian asks Emily about hockey, I believe. I may have the sport wrong, but he asks her, hey, you should do it on our team. She's like, no, I'm busy. He leaves. They talk a little bit more about the video, and he walks right back in and says, forgot the salt. Now, throughout this episode, if you recall last time, I said that Ian kind of thought Spencer Preston wasn't smart. Hey, did you hear anything last night? And she goes, no, of course. So that's me saying Ian underestimated Spencer Preston. In this episode, I think we underestimate Ian. Ian is no dummy. So I believe he heard all that. He knows exactly what's going on. I don't think he knows, though, how they got the video, but I think they know what's really going on. But we'll get there, as I like to say. Then there's a big sequence here at the Spencer Preston home, as well as the next day at school, about what to do with this video. There seems to be a strong case to giving it to Agent Cooper. Again, Agent Cooper, not so subtly last time, was like, hey, I'm in town. If there's anything else you want to share with me. Spencer Preston is the most against releasing this video, and I think her concerns are valid. There's a lot at stake here. But Emily, throughout this episode, I don't know if she says it here or later, but she's like, listen, Toby is in jail. He's out on bail now, but he was in jail. He is being accused of this crime, and we have literally a piece of evidence that says that he wasn't, or at least there's more questions here. And so Emily is really the moral center on the other side saying, look, we have something to free somebody who's been wrongly accused of something, potentially. And she says, we have to do it. And Spencer Preston's like, this is a can of worms that I'm going to be bearing the brunt of. I know we all share the guilt here and the responsibility, but he is quite literally in my house, married to my sister. So the risk here is high for me. We have the second party / dance of the year already. Someone did tell me, not spoiler, but someone told me there's going to be a lot of dances. They weren't kidding. We're already in another dance. This one's a dance-a-thon, by the way. Yeah, we have a little scene here with Hannah and Sean. I guess Hannah's helping plan it, and Sean's, I guess, helping. And the plan is, after some discussion, that at lunch they're going to drive over to, I guess, where Agent Cooper is, or the police station, and basically hand over Spencer Preston's laptop. Again, not going to get into the tech details, but couldn't have forwarded an email, but I guess the video, for some reason, is on her laptop and nowhere else. So I guess we'll accept that as it is. And now I wrote in my notes, Spencer Preston thinks Ian is A. And I wrote #do it for Toby. That's kind of the conversation I was referencing earlier. And I think that's kind of the decision they come to. Like, they know there's a lot of personal risk for all of them. There might even be more they're not sharing to us, the audience, that they know about what happened that night. But there is the conclusion that for Toby's sake, if anything else, they need to bring this video to the authorities. Hannah and Sean have a bit of a chat about money, and Hannah asks Sean if she can go back to Sean's mom's dentist place, and Sean's like, you weren't really the best last time, but we can look at it. So this is the first time I think Sean's getting a sense that there's some money issues here that seem a little unusual to him, but he doesn't really put two and two together. First, new character alert. New kid, moving to town. We're so paranoid we think they're probably a new kid moving to town. Once they hear the gossip, they probably won't want to stay. New kid. Simone. It turns out Simone is in town. Arya's mom kind of walks up to Arya. She used to be Arya's babysitter. Also find out she used to go to the school. Also note, about the same age as Creepy Detective. I don't know if I'm accurate there, but just a note. They seem similar age range. Just saying. Simone is an author. A rather, I don't know if she's accomplished. I don't know where she is in her career, but she is a published author. And you can tell right away, which is a big theme this episode, Arya's mom wants to set Simone up with Fitz. You know, Arya's mom, Ella, really big into Fitz, thinks he's great, thinks he's a great role model for Arya. Yeesh. And she's like, you know what, Simone's awesome. Fitz is an English teacher. They'll hit it off. Let's set this up. And Arya's like, oh, no. I wrote in my notes, LOL. And she does she goes full court press on that task. Cut to Emma trying to get a hold of Maya. This camp sounds really interesting. We get into some phone technology this week, too, but we'll get there. Hannah kind of joins Emily, and she says there's no phone for Maya. And the phone that she has only talks to her parents for some reason. I don't really understand that. And then, shady new kid. And Caroline, if you're listening, this is the person you told me about. But we'll get there. Hannah runs into Lucas. Oh, boy, Lucas really... When I first met Lucas, I kind of thought he'd be an ally to the Liars, kind of a friend, geeky ally. He is really, I don't know if he's gone up my list or down my list, but this episode, I don't know, Lucas. He kind of ignores Hannah. And then we're like, okay, we're going to go to the police with the Spencer Preston's laptop. We're all ready to go. All four of them are like, let's all do it together. Yeah. And then, of course, Spencer Preston goes through her bag and her laptop is missing. Instantly, they all think Ian stole it. Cut 2. Wrote in all caps, Caleb. Caleb. All I know is a name. I know he is a prominent figure from here on out, at least, I don't know, for some point. But Caleb is the new kid, and Emily seems to know him. And he does this very vague upgrade phone thing. We don't know what that really means, but he can do it. What does he do? I don't know. I also said in my notes, when we meet Caleb here, nice hat. Kind of like that hat. And also, Caleb's going to charge $40 for his backstory. And Emily says, no, thank you. And she leaves. But we later find out that Caleb can maybe help Emily get in touch with Maya. So, cut to Hannah trying to get a job at a clothing store, but it turns out her mother, Ashley, owes the store money, so the clerk is like, it's probably not going to work out, which is a huge bummer. Hannah gets into Sean's car. They kind of have a chat, and then Hannah gets another text. Want to keep mommy out of prison? I've got a job for you, ~A. This episode solidifies my mini A theory, so I'm going to just interject here. For whatever reason, and I think I come up with the reason later on specifically, Noel is this A to Hannah. So this is I thought it was Mona. Remember how I said it might be Mona, or I thought Mona might be in part of this? I think this person doing this to Hannah is 100% Noel Kahn. And we'll explain why in a moment. Cut to Arya knocking on Fitz's door in his apartment. And Fitz was reading one of Simone's short stories, and he really liked it. And Arya has coffee in her hand, but Fitz tells Arya, oops, he's meeting Simone for coffee at noon, and it's 11:30, so he's already late. Fitz says, are you okay with this? Arya does the, yeah, like the really high yeah thing. She's jealous. They do have a smooch. And he's like, well, I got to go meet Simone. She's really just a friend. We're having coffee. And count to 50 before you leave my apartment, which will come back later. And Arya's like, ugh. This was a tension a few episodes ago. I'm sure you might remember. They had a whole argument about this, about being seen in public, etc. And this issue is kind of coming up again. So this is the second time this very real and very unsolvable issue comes up. I don't know how one would solve this issue. Cut to Spencer's household. Boy, I feel she is very unsafe because there's Ian making a creepy sandwich. I don't know how you make a sandwich creepy, but Ian has found a way. He tries to give her half, like, we're family now, eat the other half of my sandwich. I kind of follow your analogy there, Ian. It just still creepy. And again, Spencer Preston, bold as can be. One of the boldest of our liars, I think, there is. Just asks him directly, have you seen my laptop? And Ian, with a straight effing face, says, maybe it's in the barn. I don't know where it is. Boy, oh boy. Two liars squaring off here, Ian and Spencer Preston. Battle of the wits. This is where I was saying, I think Spencer Preston, I don't know if she underestimates Ian necessarily, but these are two Class A fighters in the lying game, so. And Ian drops another bomb. He's going to be chaperoning this dance. So Melissa's out of town, and he wants to do something more interesting. And he says something people gossip very knowingly at Spencer Preston. Oh boy, that was a very tense scene. And he says, let's put the past behind us, and leaves his creepy half sandwich left for her to eat as he saunters out of the room. Cut to Dance-a-thon. And basically the rest of this episode is almost all Dance-a-thon. Hannah has a bag. She has a little flask of booze in there. Emily spots Ian, and I think I might put some heist music in here. We have a heist that's starting here. She walks past a little room, and she sees Ian put his bag inside a drawer, and he locks it inside the athletics office. I guess they share an office space, so there's a leather bag that's shown up a few times. He puts it in there. I guess they assume Spencer Preston's laptop is in this leather bag, which we've seen throughout the episode so far. It is currently in this athletics office in a locked drawer during the dance-a-thon. And you might hear it playing throughout because it's a loud day for some reason. So the four liars reconvene, and they decide, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the key from Ian's jacket. I believe Emily spotted the jacket number, and someone's going to get the key and get the key over to somebody else, and someone's going to go into the athletics office and get Spencer Preston's laptop back. I don't know if they assigned roles yet, but the plan is put into motion. Heist is in motion. Lucas is there. He's running a video camera, which I guess I understand why they'd be videoing the dance-a-thon. Although if you are A and you are trying to remotely keep an eye on things with your work, Lucas is tech support. He must be handling that. Caleb kind of walks in. He has a very Ian, is that how you say his name? Ian Somerhalder vibe. Very, very strong. Very strong. A texts Hannah again. We have a job description, Heartbreaker. $200 for each dance with Lucas, _A. Again, this is Noel Kahn. I have no doubt in my mind this is Noel. So, Emily knows it's jacket number 62, and the key is in the pocket. Okay, so we know that. That's what we know. So we know where the location is of the item that we need. We have Hannah and Sean dancing. And she knows that she has to do this for A for $200. So she asks Sean, hey, can I give Lucas a dance? He looks pretty sad over there. And Sean, super mad already. He's like, fine, one dance. And Hannah and Lucas have their first dance. Caleb gives Emily her super phone, as I put in my notes. And then she gets to talk to Maya briefly. And she's outside talking to Maya. Spencer Preston overhears outside, and she kind of approaches, and they kind of chat after Emily gets off the phone with Maya. And according to Emily, Maya is changing. Something's off. Like, she's there, but she's not there is kind of how she puts it. And to Emily, she feels like Maya is moving on, which is going to drive her to do what she does for the rest of this episode. She's a little upset, and I understand. We cut to the coat room. Fitz and Simone are chatting it up. I guess Simone is also chaperoning, or at least hanging around Fitz as he does this. Arya walks up. Flames from the side of her face, seething, burning. Simone does that thing that out of context is annoying, in context even more infuriating. I'm sure there's a term for this. infantilizes, I can't say that word, babies. She starts saying, oh yeah, when you were little, you did this thing when you were tiny. And Arya's like, I am a teenager now. What the fuck? Especially with Fitz here, who I'm seeing him, but you don't know that, and I can't tell you, but stop this nonsense. That aside, Arya does the heist music. Cue heist music. She asks Fitz for her dad's jacket, which is really Ian's jacket, number 62. She gets the keys from the jacket, says goodbye, but she's still very mad. Arya very coolly walks into the dance, and they give a little handoff to Spencer Preston. Apparently Spencer Preston is going to be running into the room to get her laptop back. Hannah and Lucas, dance number 2 with Lucas. So Hannah is going to keep going for more cash. Cut 2. Arya chatting with her mom. She's like, how long is Simone going to be here? Like, she really wants her gone. And Ella can tell Arya is jealous, and she, of course, interprets it as just, someone sharing the attention of this person that she really likes. And one of my notes, Ella, I've said this before, Ella's going to be so mad when she finds out about Arya and Fitz. I can't imagine the explosion of anger awaiting us. That is going to be a very difficult episode to deal with. Cut to Sean, Hannah, Lucas thing happening here. Sean's looking very pissed. Now Hannah's been dancing with Lucas for 5 dances. Sean walks away. He's so mad. Another text from A. Want to raise $500 for every dance with Lucas. Noel Khan, I know what you're doing. Heist music. Spencer breaks into the athletics office. Very deftly, she kind of gets over to the drawer, starts to unlock it, and the keys aren't working. She goes to a drawer. Caleb walks by. He does a little stops and backs up, and he catches Spencer. And he says, need some help with that? Oh my goodness. So they have a brief little chat, and then basically Spencer Preston says, how much to forget what you just saw? Cut 2. Ella and Byron, that's his first name, Byron, the Arya's parents, and they decide to have a little slow dance. And I wrote on my notes, I think Mike's words from last episode are kind of burning within Dad's head. And you can tell he's trying to bring them back together. And I got bad news for you, Byron. I think Ella's gone. I think she's already left. Ella says no to pizza. She says, just enjoy the now, Byron. And I think what Byron's missing here is there's been trust that's been broken. He needs to kind of build that back up. Let's just dance. Emily steals Hannah's last booze from her purse, I think. And then we find out from Spencer Preston, Caleb rejected the money to forget, which is very interesting. But she couldn't get into the drawer. The keys that she had apparently don't work. Arya then spots Fitz and Simone chatting it up. And Arya's like, that's it. I'm going to confront them. And she's about to go over there and just let it all loose, I guess. And Spencer saves Arya. She goes and grabs Fitz to do a dance, leaving Arya and Simone be like, what's going on? It's very funny. Very well done by Spencer Preston. Cut to Emily getting drunk. She drank the whole flask. Hannah's like, oh, you drank it all. And they kind of share a little bit about what's going on with Hannah and Lucas and Sean. And, Hannah's feeling bad about this. And Emily kind of gets up and says, Allison did the same thing to me, which is what we kind of already knew. I don't know if Hannah knew that necessarily, but now it's out there, and she knows how bad this feels when it's a one-sided affection. And, Lucas is into Hannah. Hannah obviously views him as a friend, and so playing that, leading him on, or whatever that is, that's kind of what Emily's referring to here with Allison. Drunk Emily takes it a step further and says to Hannah, too bad Allison's not here tonight. She'd be proud of you, to Hannah. And boy, that comment is especially biting. And I think Hannah has kind of the rosiest opinion of Allison. Clearly there's a reason why Emily still has some pain there. Because Hannah was on the out group for a while, right? And Allison kind of brought her into the circle. And I assume Arya, Spencer, and Emily were kind of part of the Allison posse for a while. Emily leaves, and Hannah gets another text from A. It says, you have Lucas's heart. Now rip it out. Last dance, $1,000, _A. Now I noted that they had punctuation correctly, which actually I think there's a controversy about this, but I don't want to get into grammar here on CWPLL. But they had Lucas S''. Now who in the hell would know proper punctuation? Do we think Noel would have properly spelled that? I don't know. It's very curious. It's a minor detail, I know. I zoomed in on it though. I'm like, wow, Lucas's with a S'. Who is capable of that and who is not? So I wrote down Hannah has a choice here. And she says to Sean, I got to do one more dance with Lucas. And he leaves. Sean leaves. And in effect, Sean breaks up with her. I mean, that's kind of what I read, what he says. Now, this has happened before. They seem to have these little arguments of explosion. I think Sean left last time, too. Am I right? Am I right, audience? I'm pretty sure he also said, that's it, we're done. And then, oh, yeah, it was the barn. It was the dance thing. It was the house party thing. And I think that's when Sean didn't comfort Hannah, right? Didn't he say, like, I'm out of here? And they kind of broke up, but not really. So they've done this before. They've done this dance. Anyway, Hannah does her dance with Lucas. She's kind of in tears, and she's hugging him. Lucas has this weird smile on his face. Oh, boy. Anyway, we have Emily acting drunk by trying to do something with a curtain. She's hammered. And Spencer and Aria, I believe, find her. They're trying to calm her down. I will say this. I do like that Emily was drunk. She finally says the truth, right? This whole show is based off of people not saying what they really mean. And this has been happening now for 14 episodes. Lots of double talk. Lots of longing glances like we're in Downton Abbey. She just goes up to Ian and tells him like it is. You know, Emily, empowered by Hannah's White Claw. I don't know what Hannah had in her flask. I'm just saying White Claw. Tangerine White Claw, which in my opinion is one of the best White Claw flavors, goes right up to Ian and says, we know what you did, you son of a bitch. No, she doesn't say that, but she says, we know what you did, Ian. You're not going to get away with it. She just says it all. And they're like, ha ha ha, and they kind of run her out of there. But Ian grabs Spencer and says, what is she talking about? And she says she knows about Spencer and Ian. So that's what Spencer's cover is. It's a pretty good cover. You know, Spencer's kind of the most wily of the crew, I think. I don't know if he believes it. And then he actually threatens her. This is the first time there's been threatening. He says someone's going to get hurt. Now, we could be generous and say Ian's referring to emotional pain, which might be true in Melissa. It could be, Melissa might get hurt if this comes out. I didn't take it that way. I took it as physical threat, which is pretty messed up, Ian. Even for Ian, it's pretty messed up. We kind of take outside. They're going to take Emily home. I think Emily's going to crash at Spencer Preston. And Spencer's like, I don't want to be home alone with Mr. Ian threatening guy. And so Hannah, Emily, and Spencer Preston are all going to stay at Spencer's house. Lucas kind of comes out and says, hey, can I take you home? Lucas does this. Oh, God. I was cringing this whole time. Lucas does the rom-com thing where he like kind of shuffles his feet. He's like, well, I would love to, I don't know, take you home. And, this whole little awkward nerd nice guy thing. Oh boy, that really hurt. Here's the nice guy test. If Lucas is trying to play in that stereotypical role of the nice guy, if the person you're interested in says to you, look, I have a friend who's intoxicated. BT dubs, we are under 21. Let's just lay the groundwork here. She's going through a lot. I'm going to take care of my friend. I promised Spencer I would go home with these two friends of mine. For him to kind of pout and wheeze about that, that's fake. This nice guy stuff is fake. If he was really into her and really liked her and really supported her, he'd be like, that's great. I'll catch you on the next time. I'll catch you at school. Like, whatever it is. For him to pout about that is like, that shows me the true character of Lucas. And I'm sorry. I don't know if Lucas kind of turns things around in later seasons and you all are like, you're really hard on Lucas, Chris. That was a big moment for me to show me what's going on inside Lucas. Now, having said all that, I do think this is Noel Kahn, who did all this to Hannah by proxy to Lucas, because this is what Allison probably in some way did to him, to Noel and his significant other when she broke them up. That's my theory. I think when Lucas discovers that this is Noel Kahn who did all this to Hannah, I think that might be the crack in the wall. I don't know. I lost the analogy there. But I think when Lucas finds out that he's been a pawn in these A games as well, he's going to reveal to Hannah this whole A network that I've theorized is going on. I think this is a flaw in Noel's plan that he's going to realize he really messed up. Hannah reaches into her coat and finds cash. The cash, as promised, at least A is honest and is good on their word, which is really, really odd to say. Then we have this Aria Fitz scene where they're talking about Simone. Aria's obviously jealous. Fitz is like, don't be jealous. And Fitz says this effing phrase, I'm already in love with someone else. Wow. Did he just say it in a roundabout way? I don't think they've said the L word. Have they said the L word? Well, he just kind of did. He didn't say I'm in love with you, Aria, but he basically did. Cut to Emily and Hannah crashing at Spencer Preston's. Emily tries to drunk dial Maya, and then Emily conveniently falls asleep. I got to give credit. She sleeps on her side, which is good. This is good for the kids at home to see that you always put people who are intoxicated on their sides. You don't want them sleeping on their back. Please remember that. That's a real thing. Hannah was worse than Allison. Why did I write that? Hannah was worse than Allison. I don't know if I agree with that. I wrote that note down. Hannah was worse than Allison. Was it Emily saying that to her? I forget why I wrote that down. I don't know if that's true. Anyway, so we go back downstairs. Hannah and Spencer are, I guess, making a midnight snack. Oh, yeah, she does. Spencer opens the fridge and finds what I write here, the half sandwich, the villain sandwich. She throws it out. It's probably not good anyway, but she throws out that pathetic evil sandwich. And then her laptop reappears on the table. Hannah finds it. Of course, the video is gone. Again, not sure if it was emailed or not, but the video's gone. Trash thrown out. And then, is this a text? Oh, no, this is, what is this? I'll have to rewatch this. Basically, they get another message from A. It's a photo of what looks like Allison walking across the yard here, which I now understand to be Spencer Preston's backyard. I guess that's where this drunk barn thing happened in the pilot, right? The night that she disappeared. I guess it happened here. Could be wrong, but I think that's what happens. So you see Allison kind of walking across, which we know happened, when she meets up with Toby, as well as when she meets up with Ian. And there's a shadow behind her, which I think is Spencer Preston, even though she lies and says in the moment to Hannah, we don't know who that is. That's the person who's about to attack. I think it's Spencer Preston, but, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'm sure that's a season finale kind of reveal. Anyway, messages, watch your backs, I didn't, /A. Now, what the hell does that mean? I think that's Allison in witness protection, but where is that photo coming from? That photo's from an angle across the street, right? Is that Jenna? No, that's not Jenna's house. I don't know where that angle is. It's a very strange angle. Anyway, then the tag, the little stinger, we go back to the dance-a-thon. People are getting their stuff, and Ella, Aria's mom, is working the coat rack now. I guess she switched out with Mr. Fitz at the end here. She grabs coat number 32, tag 32, and best you believe, I scrolled through the previous episode. Coat 32 is nowhere to be seen. There might be an eagle-eye viewer in some Reddit forum who found it in years past. I did not. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Still, I got no clues based on number 32. However, they give... I'm sorry I'm laughing, but we're to assume that A showed up to the dance-a-thon and they said, you know what? I've got a style. I've got a way I move through the world. And you know what? It's with my leather coat and my leather gloves. That's just my thing. I've kind of adopted this as my look. No one's gonna think this is weird. I'm gonna go to the dance-a-thon with my leather coat and leather gloves and check it in at the coat check. So as I leave, I didn't even put the gloves in the coat pockets. I don't need that. I'm gonna make sure that the person retrieving my items knows to get both the coat and the gloves and put them politely on the table. I say, have a good evening, and I be on my way. That to me screams Lucas. Now, we know Ian's coat number is 62, so by process of elimination, we can say it's not Ian. I didn't think it was Ian anyway, as I've theorized before. I don't even think he's directly in the A circle. I think if anybody, Melissa's there, kind of devising him, it's gotta be Lucas. Now, I know I'm setting myself up again to be wrong, but yeah. So this person with the gloves has to be our video person as well as the Maya picture person. Not necessarily, but most likely. My vote is Lucas. I haven't played the theme song in a while, so how about we do an A's list?
A's harassing my friends. I wanna know who it is. It's A's list.
So to me, the picture is clearer. We have an A. I'm going to call it an A group. I'm calling this the A group. And it's just a bunch of people who are on this little share thing. I don't know if they can see who each other is yet. They probably can't, but there's this A group. Allie is our frenemy. Allie/Jenna. So any time you get a positive message going to one of the liars, that's probably from Allie or Jenna. Jenna's motivation is obviously to help free Toby, acquit him of all charges. Allie's looking for something else. We don't know what, but I think that she's involved. Noel's got it in for Hannah. I haven't quite figured out why he's focusing on Hannah necessarily, but I think all this stuff the last few episodes is all Noel Khan. And I'm kind of coming around to what Caroline and Emily told me when they were on the podcast. I don't know. I thought it was Mona who hit Hannah with the car, but Noel seems to be really gunning for Hannah for some reason. So I think all this stuff is all Noel. Lucas does tech support. I think he didn't know Noel was doing this stuff with A and Hannah. When he finds out, he's going to tell everybody, at least Hannah, about what's going on. Mona, I think, is in the A group, partly to upset the other three folks. And now, over time, she's getting more annoyed with Hannah. So there's a little bit of like a weird frenemy revenge thing going on there. I do think Melissa's in the group. Some other characters who've disappeared, I think, probably have access. I do think Meredith has access. I think Ben has access. Simone's an interesting new candidate, the way the show introduces people, they make everyone seem so suspicious. And maybe that's just me as a suspicious viewer. But she had a lot of interesting and weird comments. I don't know. Simone's on the list, but I don't think she's involved. I'm very suspicious. Caleb, I can say with full authority, not on the list. However, Caleb might also discover this A group and tell somebody. He might tell Spencer Preston, actually, because he seems to be... That little detail where he said he didn't even want any cash, he decided not to tell anybody. I don't know. Interesting. He might also be tech support, but also he may actually be an ally to help them kind of hack this group and kind of find out what's going on. Yeah, so that's my theory. We have the A group. I'm just going to call this the A group theory. So we have the A group theory. A whole bunch of people are in it. Lucas or Caleb will break the code of silence first and tell someone in our team what the hell is going on. The only hole in my theory is why doesn't Allie, who I think is messaging them, tell them what's going on? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, that's it. I'm Chris McGowan. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Magoogs, Magoogs. Occasionally twitching on Mac to the Gow. I usually stream Monday nights horror games, sometimes Sunday nights with random games, and maybe randomly throughout the week as well. This thing every week, every Friday. I haven't decided if I'm going to take a break for the end of the season. I'm deciding that. But yeah, I think I've said enough.